29th of September is the date on which we'll be getting Title Update 2 for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. On today's video, I'm going to be breaking down all of the information that we got for Monster Hunter in the Capcom showcase for Tokyo Game Show. Now, naturally, we already knew that one of the coming monsters that we're going to have in this title update was Flaming Espinas, so that's not necessarily anything new. You guys can see a little bit more footage. And one of the things that I thought was interesting, though, is during that footage, there was a commentary in Japanese, and there were like subtitles. In the subtitles, they mentioned that Flaming Espinas is capable of channeling all of his energy into one big breath attack, and apparently that breath attack is going to be able to one-shot hunters. That should be interesting. So y'all better get ready with some defensive skills maybe, or at least something that, get ready to practice on your Superman dive so that you don't get absolutely blasted by Flaming Espinas. But I'm very curious to see just how much damage this attack is actually going to deal. I'm going to be able to block that with my gun lance? Let's find out. Now, another one of the monsters that we knew was going to be a Mizutsune. I mean, at least most of us suspected it was going to be a Mizutsune because we saw the shadow and all of that stuff, and everything pointed towards a Mizutsune. The thing is, we didn't knew exactly what type of Mizutsune it was going to be. So this is called the Violet Mizutsune. And Violet Mizutsune is apparently going to be about fire. At least I think it's going to be fire. I don't think it's necessarily going to be blast, because technically speaking, Apex Mizutsune already has blast. This one has a bunch of white fire bubbles, and he has a different moveset, so that should be fairly interesting. And then we got something that I thought was very interesting, which is I was going to say a brand new monster. It's not a new monster. It's a new type of monster. This is going to be kind of like the arch-tempered version of an Elder Dragon, I feel like, for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. But we got Risen Chameleos. Now, Risen Chameleos is a monster that was able to overcome the Curio affliction through symbiosis. What does that mean? That means that he was able to establish some kind of balance with the Curio, and that evolved him into a new creature, which is called Risen. I'm pretty sure that Risen comes from the fact that he overcame the affliction itself, so he rose above it, so to speak. So an interesting thing that you can tell from this is, like, most other monsters are not able to overcome the affliction, at least from a canonical standpoint. If you pay attention to the story, like most of the monsters, particularly when you go do, I think the first quest where you fight the Afflicted Lunagaron or whatever, that kind of like creepier quest that you have in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, where all the other monsters like dead in the wayside, you can tell those monsters did not overcome the Curio affliction. As a matter of fact, even the monsters that we end up fighting in the Anomaly research, those monsters have not overcome the affliction. They're still afflicted by Curio. However, it seems that Elder Dragons might be able to overcome this affliction. Like, in a way, if you think about it, Malzeno was also in some state of symbiosis with the Curio. It's not like the Curio were actually afflicting him. It's not like he was exploding with Curio explosions, all over the place. He actually was in control of it. So technically speaking, Malzeno was the first one who overcame the Curio affliction and was able to form a symbiosis with them, right? And it seems then that Elder Dragons are able to do it. Now, the first Elder Dragon we're getting is Chameleos, so the rest of this is pretty much speculation for me, but I believe we're going to be getting the other Elder Dragons versions. They're going to have like Risen versions as well, in which they overcome the Curio affliction. Now, we didn't really got a whole lot of details in terms of what this does to Risen Chameleos, so we just know that he's going to have like a new moveset. He's probably going to be more violent, more aggressive. The colors almost indicate that he is going to have some kind of a fire component to it or a blast component to it, but that was not something that I was able to identify in the gameplay footage. Let me know if you've seen anything that indicates, blast, apart from that big kind of like explosion thing that he does, which almost resembles a Curio explosion from the Anomaly research. Whenever monsters start roaring and your hunter goes, "Here it comes," big Curio explosion. He does one of those, except instead of it being red, it's almost like a pinkish kind of red with the Curio, right? Instead of it being Curio colored, let's put it like that, it's actually orange. Now, I don't know if that means it's going to be blast or it's going to be fire or what it's going to be, but besides that attack, there really wasn't a whole lot of indication of what type of element we're going to be dealing with Risen Chameleos. But I think it's going to be interesting when we get Risen Teostra, when we get Risen Kushala Daora, all of the Elder Dragons. Now, one of the things that I was also wondering is whether or not we're going to be getting a Risen Volstrax, because technically speaking, Volstrax is already like variant / subspecies, whatever, right? He's Crimson Glow Volstrax, right? So What are we going to get? Risen, Crimson, Glow, Volstrex? I don't know if they're willing to do that. I think it'd be pretty cool, but I don't know if that's where they're going with it. But either way, Risen Chameleos definitely opens the door for us to get more Risen monsters in the form of the Elder Dragons. Or maybe some of the more powerful creatures, like maybe a Risen Scorn Magnamalo. Not sure if that is going to be a thing or not, but we shall see. Now, in regards to Master Rank, in order to fight Flaming Espinas and Violet Mizutsune, you are going to need to be Master Rank 10, so these are available fairly early on. However, in order to fight Risen Chameleos, you're going to need to be Master Rank 110. All of these monsters are going to be bringing into the game new armor and weapons, which is pretty good news. Now, moving onwards, we also got details on the expanded Anomaly research. So we're going to be getting Anomaly Rank 6, and the monsters from Anomaly Rank 6 are going to be Gormagala, Espinas, Bazelgeuse, Pyrarachnikodaki, and Rajang. Now, I'm not sure if they're adding more than these. These were just the ones that they talked about during the showcase. So these are the ones you can be sure you're going to get with Anomaly 6. I think Gormagala is going to be a particularly interesting fight because it's going to, really escalate Gormagala to become harder, which I think is going to make for a much more interesting encounter. In general, I love the Anomaly research stuff. I know it's not for everyone, but I greatly enjoy it. I like seeing these monsters turned up to 11 so that I can really grab and fully min-max my set, take it against them, and it's actually somewhat of a challenge. This I find really, really cool. On top of it, another thing is the level cap is going to be raised to 120. When I was watching the presentation, I just glossed over the level and I thought it was 200. I was like, oh my god, I'm not even at level 100 yet. What the hell? The reasoning behind that is I'm mostly soloing it. I'm not really going online to hunt with a lot of players, and I'm pacing myself so that I don't burn out of the game. And I've also been doing other things like raiding in Final Fantasy XIV, playing New World, and a bunch of other stuff in the background. If you follow my other channel, Rurikhan Unleashed, you will be aware of this. But anyway, level cap raised to 120. Again, this is all going to be on the 29th of September, so we'll be able to raise it to 120 and get even more devilish quests. Now, with a new rank in the Anomaly research, with new monsters joining the Anomaly Affliction and all of that stuff, we are also going to be getting new afflicted materials. This time around, these materials are going to allow new augments for weapons. When we say new augments for weapons, I don't believe that they meant to say like, oh, brand new abilities for your weapons. It's more like new levels for some of your abilities, like maybe attack up. Now you have a level 6 of it, so on and so forth. So it's more about upgrading it because you're going to be getting a new Anomaly slot. You're going to be getting 6 Anomaly slots with this update. I believe that currently the cap is 5. So, you're going to get these materials, expand your Anomaly slots, and on top of it, you'll be able to then use it to get new skills, which is kind of something that most of us already expected, because you can kind of tell that, like, if you put something like, say, the slot augment, if you put the slot augment and increase the rampage slot capabilities of your weapon, that takes up like 4 slots and leaves you with 1 free. It's like, and I know that in some weapons you'll be able to like get 1 additional elemental damage or whatever, but it just felt like, okay, this system is probably going to be expanded, so that's what they're doing with this update as well. And it's also important to mention that there are not going to be updates to Curio armor crafting with this update. So the Curio armor crafting, the RNG stuff that burns me out a little bit, that is not receiving any update, which made me a little bit sad. I was hoping that they would do something that made that system just a little bit more deterministic, but that's just one man's hopes. We don't have to talk too much about it. I know that a lot of people don't agree with me on that. I get it. Relax. I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts. And finally, we are going to be getting layered weapons. They said in the update most of the currently craftable weapons are going to be layered. That means that not all of them are going to be layered, but most of them. So if you happen to find, oh, I really like this weapon, but I can't layer it. But yeah, most of the weapons are going to be able to be layered. And then they talked about a bunch of new paid DLC, which includes like actually Arlo's face, and I believe Arlo's voice as well. They didn't specify this, but you could see like Arlo interacting as if he was a hunter, so I'm assuming that is something. You're going to get like new gestures, new poses. This is all like paid DLC. We're also still going to be getting some free versions of this through some of the new event quests that we're going to be getting. It's going to be event quests every week, which is pretty much what's been happening with Sunbreak over the last couple of weeks. Like on the live stream, I actually did the Goldian Silverlos quest, right before the live stream started, so I thought that was cool. But yeah, we're getting new event quests. We're getting new paid DLC for armors and stuff. There was one thing that bothered me a little bit, and that is that they're also now selling paid DLC for layered weapons. And the reason it bothered me is because those weapons actually looked really, really good, which is beginning to... You know, I understand that not everybody has the same gaming experiences as I've had, so I understand that not everybody's going to be like, you're not going to have the experience that I've had in previous games where I saw the process of cosmetic microtransactions essentially taking over to the point where the majority of the budget ended up going to the cosmetic microtransactions, whereas the cosmetics in game were far inferior. Like, I've seen this in plenty of games. It is not the case currently for Monster Hunter, but when I saw those layered weapons, I was like, oh man, those look really good. As in, like, those look like they took a decent chunk of the budget to actually develop. They're like all high-tech and stuff. You guys can see it in the trailer. Those bothered me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. And it's like, again, I get it, not everybody's gonna agree, and I do believe that, considering the amount of free updates that we get, that Capcom should definitely be able to monetize aspects of this game, because we get such an incredible amount of value for Monster Hunter games. At least this is my opinion. I understand that there's also people who disagree with that, but whatever. I mean, look, through all of my gaming experiences, right, Monster Hunter is hands down one of the best value to price comparisons that you can make. Okay? This is just my personal experience with it. So by no means am I saying that Capcom is not allowed to, sell some cosmetic DLCs or whatever. I'm just saying there is a line that I've seen been crossed in previous games, namely in things like World of Warcraft, as well as other ones, where it's like eventually they cross that line. It's like, okay, all of our budget now goes towards the cosmetics in the store, and the cosmetics in game are going to be ass. Right now, Monster Hunter is nowhere close to that. Not even remotely close to that, because most of the best looking stuff, if not all of the best looking stuff, is in the game. It's just these weapons, I'm never going to be someone that's not going to say what they think. And the weapons, I was a little bit, I don't know about that. But again, it's not a big deal as it is right now. I'll have to keep my eye on it for the future, see what they do in the future. But yeah, other than that, I think it's going to be a pretty fun update. I'm going to get quite a few more hours out of it. And I'll be reporting on more information as it becomes available. If you usually enjoy the Monster Hunter content, then feel free to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, hit the like button if this video helped you out, it was informative, or just entertaining in any way. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe, peace out.